Can Huddersfield possibly win this game and complete the fairy story of the rag, bag and bobtail outfit they were 10 years ago?
There's a chance here for Griggs. It's a brilliant try. It's a brilliant try from Scott Griggs. And everybody must agree they are the real deal in 2013.
The destiny of the League Leaders' Shield is certainly in their hands.
And the Giants headed south knowing that a win would move them even closer to that first top-of-the-table finish for 81 years.
The main aim was to come and get 2 points, which mission accomplished.
Yes, one more win for history for the Huddersfield Giants, but what a contrast here as the Giants aim to claim their first league leadership in 81 years, and it could be and should be party time for them. Wakefield, though, in crisis again. A financial shortfall of almost £500,000 has been revealed, and star players are on the way out. First, though, the story of this weekend so far, and on Friday, Leeds beat Catalan Dragons. Warrington won an away game at St Helens for the 4th time in a row, and Hull got some revenge for Wembley with a 34-33 win at Wigan. Earlier today, the shock of the round: Bradford 10, London 20, Castleford 44, Salford 30, and Widnes 36, Hull Kingston Rovers 22. Now then, Warrington's victory at Saints means the Giants have to win here to claim the 2013 League Leaders' Shield. Wigan and Leeds meet on Thursday. The winners will finish third. Saints, Hull, Catalan Dragons and Hull KR, they're all scrapping it out for the other playoff places. Saints travel to Hull next weekend. Catalan entertain Warrington, and Hull KR are at home to London. So I will leave it to you to work it all out how it might finish. Well, what a day for these Huddersfield players. They know that history is beckoning for them, and they know too that in his first season as the Huddersfield Giants coach, it could be a famous occasion for Paul Anderson, who's smiling broadly now. I wonder whether he will be at the end of the 80 minutes. This is the way the sides line up then here. Huddersfield, Paul Anderson, not too many surprises. This in fact has been his first choice back line for most of the season. Scott Griggs, Aaron Murphy and Danny Brough, all are former Wakefield stars. In the forwards, Brett Ferris is another up against his old club, and how pleased the Giants must be to have Jason Chan back in the starting lineup again. The Papua New Guinea international is primed and ready to go in the playoffs. On the bench they look formidable too, with Fayumu, Patrick and Ty, while Kyle Wood joined the Giants, also from Wakefield, in July. Now then, the big news coming out of Wakefield in the last 24 hours is all about their finances again, or the lack of investment. Undercapitalised by £400,000, it's led to the club's new chairman, Michael Carter, accepting a substantial cash offer from Salford for halfback Tim Smith. So young Bobby Goulding, he's the son of the former Great Britain international, he makes his first Super League start. And while they've accepted Salford's cash for Tim Smith, Wakefield have turned down a 6-figure bid for skipper Danny Kermon. They want to build the future around him, but it is believed by many that Tim Smith won't be the only player leaving between now and the start of next year. So you could say all of these players tonight are very much in the shop window. On the bench, Ali Lauatiti and he, along with halfback Lee Smith, have signed a 1-year contract extension, so they at least will be with the Wildcats in 2014. So this is Huddersfield's big night, and seated alongside me is what all the fuss has been about over the past 8 or 9 months or so. The 2013 Super League League Leaders' Shield. Will Huddersfield claim it tonight? Will their players rewrite the history books and finish top of the pile for the first time in 81 years? I don't want to rain on their parade at all, but it would be remiss of us not to reflect first of all on the fact that Wakefield have hit financial trouble again. Barry, Tim Smith has gone. That's sad for Wakefield. It's even sadder for Richard Agar, who has built a team who could compete and have competed, but it looks like these financial problems haven't gone again. We don't want to dwell on this too long, but we must start off with it.
And you feel sorry for the club, you feel sorry for its fans as well, because that will impact on the pitch. Tim Smith has left. The encouraging sign for me is around Danny Kermond. He's probably one of the best forwards in the game at the minute, the best back row probably, along with Liam Farrell running around at this current point in time. They're going to keep hold of him, they're going to build a team around him, and one of the other encouraging signs was the news that they're going to make their entire under-19 squad full-time professionals. So those building blocks for the future certainly being put in the hands of Ryan Hudson, the head of youth development at the club, and he's been tasked with getting those new players, that new batch of players. So yeah, disappointing, but I will say this and just dangle this bit out in the air, that there's 5 professional clubs in the WF postcode, so that's a lot of teams to service those people in that general area.
Okay, as I say, we don't want to dwell on this because it's Huddersfield's big night, and I'm sure that on Backchat on Tuesday night, the Wakefield problems will form part and parcel of the discussion between Rod Stevo and their guests. What also might well feature in the discussion is the destiny of this lovely piece of silverware. Okay, it is not the championship, it is a recognition that they've been the best and most consistent team all year. And the table, Barry, at any stage of the campaign does not tell a lie.
No, and I think one of the question marks over Huddersfield in recent years has been consistency, and Paul Anderson has brought that now. He's built a side around some very talented individuals and allied that with a real strong team unity that Aaron Murphy, the player catching the ball, who's had a fabulous year, he probably typifies that for me. I think the big battle, and the one I'm looking forward to, is the battle of the back three. Ferris, Chan and Michael Lawrence, who are all fit, fast, agile players who have the capacity to play in the backs. They're going to be up against Mariano, Kermond and Talima Tutai, who's a very exciting prospect.
Absolutely, and I mean, this is the night for Huddersfield really to stand up and be counted and win this league leadership. You know, 81 years, it's a long, long time. The long-suffering Huddersfield fans still have to pinch themselves. A lot of people don't believe, even at this stage, that they are the real deal. But look at the table. As I say, it doesn't tell a lie.
Well, they beat all the big guns. Everybody except Warrington. There's still that question mark against Warrington, but I'm sure they'll answer that emphatically when the time is right. But Huddersfield are there. They're there on merit. We're hoping for a big crowd and a good atmosphere to celebrate tonight's achievement. That doesn't mean to say that Wakefield will lie over and just hand that over. Wakefield are a dogged side. You know, the Justin Poes, the Paul Aytons of this world will really make a game and a contest of this.
And in many ways, the adversity that Wakefield find themselves in at the moment just might be the spur for them. We're also, of course, at the time of year when dream teams are named, when Men of Steel are named, and when Coach of the Years are named. There are 2 names here on show tonight. Danny Brough, who has been consistently, in my opinion, the best player in the competition all year, and Paul Anderson, the coach. Best year-on-year improvement from, what was it last year, 7th to top of the table. If they win tonight, do they win those 2 personal awards as well?
Well, I think those decisions are made by people who look at the year as a whole, but the staggering improvement in team unity is there for me. And one of the other things I'm just interested, and the next 80 minutes will tell us, that there's 3 players on the Wakefield side. Mathers, Lee Smith and Ali Lawatiti, who've tasted league leader. They've got experience with the Leeds Rhinos in 2004. There's nobody in the Huddersfield Giants, so 17 players are going into uncharted territory.
Very much uncharted territory. Uncharted territory also for the chairman of the Huddersfield Giants. There he is, Ken Davey. If there is an award for the chairman of the year, this fellow could well be in line for that as well. He's pumped much of his personal fortune into the fortunes of the Huddersfield Giants. He has worked doggedly with a succession of coaches. Fingers crossed for Ken Davey that they're going to take out the big prize here tonight. Well, we'll all keep our fingers crossed for Ken Davey as well, but Wakefield are here to perform. John Wells is a former Wakefield Trinity Wildcat himself. Your old team, John, will not lie down and give this thing easily, will they?
No, they certainly won't, Eddie, and why should they? They're a professional team. I don't think the motivation would be spoiling the party, though. I think the motivation would certainly be in looking to build for next year. But I think Wakefield fans will forgive me if we spend our time in the preview talking about what an occasion this is potentially, has the potential to be this evening, because for me, we're going to see the team of 2013. The truth is, Eddie, you may as well have a look around the league and you may find a full-back with more pace than Scott Grix. You may find a half or 5/8 with more try assists to his name than Danny Brough and Luke Robinson, although not many, it has to be said, and perhaps more forwards across the league that have missed less tackles and made more metres than those pulling on the claret and gold this evening. But when you look at this team collectively as one unit, as we know we play a team sport, it's hard to think of a team that can better them this year, and of course that's why they're in pole position to lift that lovely piece of silverware this evening. It's been an amazing journey for Paul Anderson in his first year of head coach, and they've been telling us, haven't they, since round one, since our Sky cameras were over at St Helens, and within 3 minutes started what was to become a whitewash over St Helens. Such a big team with a big history, and Jermaine McGilvray, the first try scored this season, to their stunning win over Leeds at Headingley in round 6, and Danny Brough, once again, as in this try, the centre of much of the good things that they've done this season, and by the way, he's only missed one in Super League as well. Right through to their return victory at Wigan a month ago, the second defeat of the Challenge Cup holders in 2013. They play with a consistency and a self-belief that we've seen in patches from Huddersfield over the years, but not to this extent and not with this level of consistency as we're seeing this year. It's been borne out by the results, hasn't it? Today is the 1st of September, round 26, and you have to go back to the 7th of June, round 18, until the last time they lost in Super League. They've won 10 out of 11 going into this one, and it is all set, isn't it, with Ken Davey and his fingers crossed for another victory this evening and a fantastic end to what is a real party atmosphere here. But just a quick word on the fans. We often lament the lack of support that a team that produces the goods week in, week out on the field. Well, they're out in force this evening, and they've also produced 3,000 of these little leaflets. They're a passionate bunch. They're also a very confident bunch. This is a thank you, a tribute to the chairman, Ken Davey, who since 1996 has been pouring time, effort, and let's face it, plenty of money into this club, and it'd be just rewards for him alone, wouldn't it? It'd be good enough for him alone for them to lead, to pick that League Leaders Shield this evening. I'll hand back to you now, and we'll get back at half-time to see how they've been doing in the first 40 minutes, Eddie.
Yeah, thanks, John. So a massive night for the Huddersfield Giants. You know, the last time they finished top of the pile was 1931-32. They lost 9-5 to St Helens in that year's championship final, and irony of ironies, that game was held at Wakefield. If they win, they will become only the 6th club to have claimed the League Leaders Shield in 18 seasons of Super League football. But Wakefield, they've nothing to play for, but they can play a bit. They are very dangerous opponents. They lie 10th on the table, but they've lost 5 games by 8 points or less. It is a thin line between success and failure in the Super League. Danny Kermon leads the Wildcats out. They've lost their last 5. Their last 2 wins against Hull and Widnes were televised matches here on Sky Sports. Is that an omen that Danny Brough and Paul Anderson and company have mentioned in their build-up to this? The Wildcats do not seem to be particularly camera shy. But they are aiming, the Giants, tonight to join St Helens, Bradford, Leeds, Wigan and Warrington, who won the League Leaders Shield for the first time 2 years ago. And there's the man who has led them from the front all season, the captain, Danny Brough. For these players, Steve-O, in the famous jerseys, history is beckoning, and it could be a wonderful night for Mr. and Mrs. Davey.
Yeah, but they've got to be very, very careful indeed. So many favourites. They often can fall at the final fence, and they have got to push that away out of their minds. They've got to make sure they play the scintillating rugby league football that they have shown already for this particular season. They will start red-hot favourites, especially with the problems with Wakefield and their finances, but they cannot take them too lightly.
Well, the commemorative photographs are being taken. You will notice, by the way, that Huddersfield are wearing black armbands tonight in appreciation for 2 people, 2 true supporters of this club, Janet Pearson and Oliver Reed. And I'm sure that they will be with them in spirit tonight as they aim to get their hands on that League Leaders Shield. Tim Roby is the big match referee. We're just about ready to play. Are Huddersfield ready to play and claim the League Leaders Shield? We'll see in the next 80 minutes. Their destiny is in their own hands. And Grix is underneath the kickoff. It's a chase from the kickoff by Oliver Wilkes. And, well, I just wonder what the next 80 minutes has in store for us.
Well, if they play to what they've displayed so far this year, then you'd have to say that the Giants will give this big crowd, and it looks an increased crowd. We've often always this season said that, you know, they are not supporting the side that will finish if they win tonight. top of the table, but it looks at a very, very good crowd, and rightly so.
Yes, they were keeping their fingers crossed for somewhere in the region of 10,000, which is double what they normally play in front of here. They do deserve the support. They're getting it tonight, and here's a first early 40-20 attempt by Danny Brough.
Not a bad kick either, even though it didn't get the 40-20. Look where they've turned Wakefield around, and the chase is excellent. Luke Robinson there first. That's been one of the highlights as well. Full credit to Paul Anderson, their coach. He really got them extremely fit.
I think we've all spoken as though this is going to be a comfortable win if things go to form for the Huddersfield Giants. But I don't know whether that's the case, Eddie, and we might all be lulled into a false sense of security here. When these teams met earlier in the year, back in February at Wakefield, it ended up 18 points to 16, the Giants' narrow winners. And in fact, they needed a couple of penalty goals from Danny Brough to get that victory. Wakefield are a side who are very rarely put to the sword. They're competitive in most of the games they play. And I'm sure that Richard Ager and his team have found a will to win here tonight.
But Paul Anderson said that the best team lost on the day that Phil was just talking about, the 18-6 victory for the Giants at Wakefield.
Ooh, very lucky. Nearly brushed him, but they got away with it. The Giants are not to get excited. The fans are. They think it's silverware, a major piece of silverware. And the last time that happened, of course, 1962. Ironically, when they won the championship, they beat Wakefield that day. So it all looks good, but they've got plenty of minutes to either throw it away.
But you must say the way they played this year with this fellow Earl Crabtree in the side. And there's a bit of an argy-bargy with a swinging arm on Crabtree. They didn't like it, and this is not what Huddersfield want. They don't want to get involved in this sort of thing.
It was Paul Ayton, Eddie. Came over the top. Earl Crabtree, whilst taking that ball up, he's a big man to stop.
It was
and the Wildcats are fired up. Watch this. And another one on the floor. There you go. He didn't miss either.
Luckily he did on the second one. Not so sure what happened on that third, but well, surely he won't go for a red. I mean, it's
well, Steve or Scott Griggs might be in trouble. He was the third man.
Contact with the head. The man I've got running in, sparking it, is Luke Robinson. Anything different to that? No punches or anything. Right, okay. Okay, cheers, boys. Okay.
Okay, you've heard the report from the touch judges. Luke Robinson was first man in. He is the man who started it all.
I've already blown for contact with the head.
Well, it's a swinging arm that created it, wasn't it?
We're minutes in, so we're going to get on with it now. Sort yourself out, okay? I'm going to speak to them.
Well, he's lucky.
Okay,
it's only 3 minutes in by the sound of things.
Mate, I understand what you've seen, but I've already blown it. Penalty to you. Don't come running in, sparking anything like that. If it gets worse, there'll be people sitting there. Your penalty, all right?
Well, Luke Robinson saying he was hit twice in the same tackle, so Paul Ayton.
Isn't that funny how the little man's going to protect the big man, isn't it? Number 7.
The enforcer, Luke Robinson,
And it sparked all this. Anyway, penalty given, and this is where Huddersfield start this next set of 6, and it's Crabtree again for the Giants. That's a more legal tackle from Ayton.
Boy, Wakefield, they are now fired up.
Well, they're angry probably about what has happened over the past 24 hours, and they're here to make their mark. There's no doubt about that. Chances here, though, very close to the line for the Giants, and here is the first try, and it goes to Jason Chan, provided there is nothing seen untoward by video referee Steve Ganson. I think Stuart Cummings, they're looking for how the ball came out of all that shamozzle.
Yeah, they're looking how it come out. You know, it doesn't really matter if it's stolen on this occasion, because it's basically going to go backwards, and the advantage is the try, so I think that'll be given as a try.
Well, it looked like Sean Lunn was on his way and then decided to just get it back. Certainly not a knock-on. This will have to go up as the TRY. Well, the punches were thrown, handbags all over the place, but that's one way to get wrapped and get them back the opposition, and that is the TRY.
So first try to the Huddersfield Giants. They are on their way, courtesy of Jason Chan. Unlucky for some, the 13th appearance for Chan of 2013, but back at just the right time.
Silly swinging arm from Paul Ayton. There's one thing being fired up. There's another one trying to pick on one of the biggest players in Super League. They did well, did Lont. He definitely got that through. They just lost their marbles in the defensive line. 4 came in, and look at the huge gap that they left.
So Danny Brough with the opportunity to add the extras, which he does. Danny Brough, formerly with Wakefield, of course, Super League's top goal kicker, Super League's top point scorer this year, and Paul Anderson's men off to a flyer.
But you don't see many tries scored by the man who's played the ball. Jason Chan did on that occasion, and it was primarily because of the actions of Sean Lund. You know, there's only 11 players in Super League who've scored more tries this year than Sean Lund. A lot of people talk about Danny Brough and his involvement and contribution to the success of the Giants this year, but I think we often underestimate just how invaluable Sean Lund's been.
What a run and a break here from Kopchak. He's got grips on his inside. It should have gone to him.
Had the opportunity, but perhaps he's taken the best option. Make sure that they have the possession, which it counts.
Brough gets the ball out to Ferris. Ferris was thinking of offloading in the tackle, took the tackle instead. Will play the ball, and here comes Joe Wardle, and he'll drive it in.
Good defence by Wakefield.
It's Robinson, they're looking busy. Griggs, it was quick hands, maybe too quick a hand, and Leroy Cudjoe picks up the pieces, dumps the ball back down. Here they come again, and this is Jason Chan once more, the try scorer. Lunt is a dummy half, come down the short side with Cudjoe. Cudjoe then comes back off the whitewash into an ambush of 3-4 white jerseys, gets it away, and it's a knock-on.
Just a little bit too much. Over enthusiastic to try to keep the ball alive. Obviously, they're the tactics of Paul Anderson. Said, look, any opportunity, just keep it alive. We'll try to run this Wakefield side off their feet.
Well, they're certainly asking some questions around that dummy half, but built on fabulous runs like Craig Kopchak. All that field position, all that territory. Wow, big man on little man. All-hearted, he thinks, what should I do? Bang, the Samoan sidestep right into Richie Mathers. Great start to the game by the big fella.
Craig Kopchak, one of the most improved forwards in Super League this year, joined from the Bradford Bulls on a 3-year deal at the start of 2013, and it could be silver lining to at the end of 2013 for the Giants. Of course, once the league leadership is sorted out, then the big stuff begins. The playoffs will be underway Thursdays and Fridays all the way through to Old Trafford on October the 5th. Kermon, though, trying to get the ball away, and that ball was either knocked forward or stripped. It's going to be a Wakefield head and feed here.
It should be. Well, Kermon was trying to offload. It went backwards, so it has to be. He's got it right, Tim Roby. Well, talking of forwards having an excellent season, this fella certainly has, hasn't he?
It's just that nudge from Danny Brough. Kermon looks like he's going to get a perfect offload, and then just that attention from Danny Brough means that the ball hits his thigh, and then it's an untidy offload rather than a clean one.
So Wakefield with the possession from the scrum. Back-to-back defeats to Leeds, derailed their playoff challenge. They also lost to Bradford. That was the killer blow. Warrington and St Helens. They were in the hunt in both the games against Leeds and certainly in the game against Bradford. They dropped the ball here, though. This is the free play for Earl Crabtree. He hangs on, though, so that'll become the 0 tackle.
Yeah, good hit there. Dislodged the ball. Wakefield having no good territory at all at the moment.
And the one thing they don't want, Steve, on an afternoon, a night like this, is to turn up here to lose to Huddersfield, first of all, but also to lose embarrassingly to the Giants.
I don't think they will, Eddie. And, you know, they really would. They're a good fighting outfit, Wakefield.
Well, they have been for a couple of seasons now. Remember the run they had to the playoffs last year. It was fantastic.
Sorry, Ed, they can't spend all game defending. That's what they've done when they've had it. They've forced an offload, they've given possession away, or even a penalty, and it's meat and drink to Huddersfield.
Well, that should have been a penalty, and it was quick thinking there by Danny Brough, but the official, Tim Roby, completely... They were not standing, and they did not get back to 10 metres, and now they've conceded the penalty of the Giants.
Holding down in the ruck by Scott Griggs, too slow to get off the tackled player, who is Talima Tautai.
Well, a golden opportunity now for Wakefield. It's hopefully they can get their kicking game in, but the defence from Huddersfield pretty solid.
And an impressive start. In terms of field position, that first 10 minutes, it's all been played in the right half of the pitch, hasn't it? It's the first time Wakefield have been this far downfield. And starting strongly in games like today and the playoffs in the coming weeks is very important.
Good defence on Dean Collis's run down the right-hand side. Peter Fox, the former England international, will bring the ball inside and then will be tackled by Crabtree and Sean Lunt. It's Ayton who's the dummy half. That was Bobby Goulding. Here is Richie Mathers. He tries to stab the ball through, and it's the zero tackle here because it's been dropped upon by Michael Lawrence.
Well, not the best finish. It was a poor kick. Needed a little bit more oomph behind that one. Really should have given it a little bit more pressure. Richard Mathers.
Another penalty, this time for interference at the play of the ball.
A really good carry by Leroy Cudjoe, wasn't he? I think 3 or 4 defenders tried to pull him down. None of them seemed strong enough to control that. And that penalty, sometimes we underestimate the role of a centre and we think it's about creating tries always for the winger. But he's helped to get his team out of his own half here with some strong runs.
So once again, the Giants are inside Wakefield territory, and it's Kopchak once more. We'll play the ball there to Lunt. And here now is Brough. He turns it back inside to Michael Lawrence. Back row for the last 3, and he's made the transition from backs to forwards these days. Brough again, short ball to Crabtree. Be a big day for Earl Crabtree. He's a survivor of the old days when they're at the foot of the table, seemed to be year on year. Back in 2001, the early part of the century.
Not a good pass there from Luke Robinson. They're just trying a little bit too much. They wanted to score and make a break on virtually every play.
Great offload by McGilvray, finds Lunt. Here is Robinson. Robinson changes the direction of this attack. Good on his feet is little Luke.
Needs a good kick. Danny Brough, surely.
Last one here for the Giants. Slides the kick in behind the defence. That's a knock-on by Kermond, is it? No, it went backwards, says Tim Roby. And Stuart Cummings nods his head. Good decision from Tim then, Stu, yeah?
Yeah, he was in a good position. The ball went backwards, but that one didn't.
No, they've got the free play. It's a lovely kick into the corner. Oh, it's bounced horribly for Wakefield. They'll bring it back. They'll bring it back. It was worth a chance. It was worth a try, says Danny Brough.
Yeah, he's one of the best kickers in the game, that's for sure. Quick thinking. McGilvray thought that he was going to get the bounce. Oh, looks to the heavens.
Yes, it went backwards. That's the view that Tim Roby had.
Did well, Kermond. But again, the quick thinking of the skipper, Danny Brough, who, like you, Eddie, has got to be in with a great shout for Man of Steel this year. It's been outstanding, hasn't he?
Well, people are talking about him now. Even the likes of Danny Maguire at Leeds has said that he has been, in his opinion, the most consistent player of the season so far. It'll be very interesting to see who the players actually put the X alongside. But here is Robinson. That's a lovely pass. And Ferris, who's going to be another Man of Steel contender, because he's been simply brilliant this year, Brett Ferris. And Paul Anderson's men have a double-figure lead. Brett Ferris, a career best 15 Super League tries. The top offloader for the Giants. Well, it was on the end of an offload then from Luke Robinson. And Brett Ferris with the latest Huddersfield try.
Set piece move. Notice how they used Kopchak coming through as a dummy runner. Made sure Kopchak did not touch one player so that they couldn't even think about obstruction. But the offload and timing by Luke Robinson was sensational. And Ferris knew exactly that was going to be a big, big hole. Well worked. Great plan. Surely Danny Brough will add the extras.
Well, they're starting to singing here that they're going to win the league. They're certainly on their way to winning the League Leaders' Shield. What happens in the playoffs, of course, is a roll of the dice, is a toss of the coin. But they do seem to have the edge this year that gives you the indication that Huddersfield just could shake a few feathers in the playoffs and make it to Old Trafford.
And what they've got the intelligence to isolate defenders. You saw two players running at a Wakefield defender, and it was impossible for the Wakefield defender to make the right decision, and Brett Ferris gets over for a simple try off a very short pass, and a nice pass selection, Luke Robinson.
So 12-0, here comes Big Earl again.
It just shows you the importance, though, the utilisation of dummy runners. They've played some outstanding rugby league football of the Giants this year. And it's not surprising that some of those set patterns that their coach Paul Anderson has given to them. Well, that's a good charge down, but again, very much aware. Fantastic stuff.
Oh, lovely footwork from Danny Brough. Just to pick your point there, dummy runners are not on the pitch for Huddersfield Giants. Every player that runs wants the ball. He's in a position to collect it, and then it's down to the players and the decision makers. Danny Brough included in that bracket as to who they choose to get it.
Hard work from Danny Kermond, but it all came to naught. The charge down because Huddersfield again have ball in hand with Craig Kopczak just inside his own half of the field. Kermond with the tackle. There is Lunt. Oh, that's a slack pass. Got its way to Robinson in the end. Here is Leroy Cudjoe now. And that's the last tackle on its way for the Huddersfield Giants.
Will we get the bomb this time? No. Just turn them around. Aiming for the post, and he got it.
Yes, he found the post, and it means that Peter Fox has to run the ball from his own goal line, and he makes 20 metres good ground. And then he's dumped on his back by Kopczak. And good defence it was from the Giants. Brett Ferris was in there as well.
And again, solid defence. Wakefield having a devil of a job trying to get over that advantage.
Ayton will come down this left-hand side. Bobby Goulding with the kick. Interesting that we've got Bobby Goulding playing here today. His dad lifted the first ever Super League title 17 years ago this week for the Saints in 1996 under Sean McRae, of course. The great Saints era began.
And a golden opportunity for his son tonight, Bobby.
Well, when you think about the fact that there he is in the tackle, the man he's replaced, who's gone to Salford, is Tim Smith. Remember the man who replaced Tim Smith at Wigan? One Sam Tompkins. Another junior player from these shores taking the place of Tim Smith. Brough with the kick.
Beautiful
behind
kick.
The defender.
Absolutely superb. He knows how to control a game, and that's been one of the major features in Super League and of this team. Don't have to just cart the ball with the forwards all the time. Just put it down there, apply the pressure. Okay, Wakefield will get possession from the scrum.
Well, wouldn't you hate to be Peter Fox in that position? He's got his back to the on-rushing attackers coming from Huddersfield, and he's willing that ball over the line. Nervous times if you're a winger.
Well, he's Wakefield's top try scorer for Richard Agar this year, is Peter Fox. 17 tries. 4 times an England international as well. This is Washbrook now for Wakefield.
And I think his team are doing okay when you consider how little possession they've had and how pumped up the Giants are for this game. They won't have played many opening quarters against a team with the greater determination and accuracy with almost everything they've done. I thought they've had over 2/3 of the possession, and that certainly will have helped them not only get the 12 points but look fitter and fresher. If that starts to even up, we might see what Wakefield have got, and Kerman's the best chance of that.
That's a nice run from Kermond. Oh, and he puts the ball down. It was decreed to be a knock-on by Tim Roby, so this is the 0 tackle.
Well, that's a second opportunity that Kerman has had to try to get one of his teammates through the gap. Oh, that looked right round the throat. Not surprisingly, the whistle has gone for it.
And Justin Poor being talked to by the official. Justin, who has had his trials and tribulations this year, his first season in Super League. Been sent off twice, once pre-season, once against Wigan when he felled Liam Farrell with a crisp right hook.
But if it continues in that vein, Eddie, you might be getting an early shout again.
They're frustrated, I think, Wakefield, as much as anything, because they can't get the ball, they can't get out of their own half at the moment. It's all Huddersfield, and that's why we are 12-0 on the scoreboard. And that's another lovely little pass to Chan. He offloads, and it's picked up almost. So this is now the free play for Wakefield. Mathers gets it away. Here is Andy Raleigh. So that's the 0 tackle. Here comes Washbrook again for the Wildcats. Down he goes.
Well, when you're leading by 12 points to nil, you can afford to be able to just be a little bit too fancy.
Sean Lunt just couldn't get hold of the loose ball. He knows what it takes to win at Old Trafford in the grand final. Did it with the Rhinos last year when he was out on loan. It must be like a brand new signing for Huddersfield in 2013, having him back in the ranks. And he's been a key figure, as Phil Clark so rightly said. Key figure in their march up the table.
He's been tremendous. One of the form hookers, and has one position that England are very, very happy to be in.
This isn't a bad kick from Goulding, and it's bounced everywhere. He took the gamble there, did Jermaine McGilvray.
This is
and
where
he's lost the ball. He's lost the ball illegally. It's a strip.
Yeah. Stripped out.
I think that's a tough call, Mike. When somebody the size of Jermaine McGilvery's running at you, I don't think you've got time to think about stripping the ball here. You're just trying to hold to pull him down. What do you think, Stuart?
Well, I think he's just lost that on collision when Cockayne goes in. I think it's a really harsh call. It came from the touch judge.
I think Ben Cockayne stripped it, Stuart. I think Ben Cockayne knows exactly what he's doing. You're right, Jermaine McGilvery, a big man. You watch this. He's looking at the ball all the time and strips it.
Well, there you go.
Plays at the ball.
You see, you've got 3 opinions, 2 one way and 1 the other. Who would be a touch judge, who would be a referee, who would be a video referee? Thank goodness people want to be, otherwise we wouldn't have a game.
Stop looking at me, I don't.
No, your days are gone, I'm afraid. I'm sorry about that, but they are. You could be a video referee, your eyes are still okay. I think.
Well, I think there's a few people out there that disagree with you.
Oh, here's another penalty.
Oh, this is becoming a nightmare.
Reece Lynn.
Watch for the drive now, and don't be surprised if they do the quick blindside move.
And Sean Lunt's barking out the instructions, pointing one way, he'll go the other, and he does. To Robinson. Robinson gets a flat pass to Michael Lawrence. There's a royal entanglement of legs. Lunt trying to pinch one from dummy half. Great pass. It was touched again. It's gone backwards this time. Who wants it? It's offside in front of the posts for Wakefield. They were too quick off the line. And a team warning goes to the Wakefield Trinity Wildcats. That's the sign. The referee turns and waves his arms at the players, so they know now that the next infringement will result in a sin bin, or should do. So it's going from bad to worse for Wakefield, and there is Kopjak.
I think he's got it down.
Close.
No, I don't think he's got it down. I think it's on the boot.
Just check the grounding, please.
On the white boot of the Wakefield defender.
It was a great run, though, by the prop forward. Steaming onto it. Does he get it onto the whitewash? It's on the boot there, so that's a no.
They've got to keep running this through because the tackle's not complete. The referee blew the whistle. Well,
everybody's on the floor, Stuart.
I think that's a try.
Yep, the apex of the ball has finally got there. Remember, we're running this in slow motion.
Everybody's on the floor.
If his momentum's finished, Stuart, how long has he got to move his arm to ground the ball?
Well, until the referee calls time off for that try, he can keep going because the tackle's not complete until the ball's on the ground. And when the ball goes on the ground in the in-goal area, it's going to be a try.
I'd give it.
Well, he's short there, but then the ball rolls forward.
Then it rolls forward, and the apex of the ball gets over it. This should see TRY.
Well, has Steve Ganson seen it the same way? No, he hasn't. Ball was held up on the foot That's Steve Ganson's opinion.
Well, I agree with Steve Ganson. I think the play, when it lands on that boot, I think that's it stopped. Everybody's laid down.
It's the green sole there. That's the reason why that the try's been disallowed, because the ball didn't touch the grass. It touched greenery, but it was on the sole of the boot of the defender. Anyway, the tackle count will resume, and here is Robinson. Short ball from him, and Ferris held on to that. Under pressure from Kermond. It's Big Earl trying to spin his way to the line. He gets there, and sheer weight of numbers holds him up this side of it.
That's great defence. Never played that ball correctly.
Jason Chan, that's down. That's on the line this time.
Yeah.
Second try for Chan. On this night of celebration for Paul Anderson and the big crowd. They're going to go 18-0 up. And it doesn't look like Wakefield can stop them from here on in.
Well, I don't want to sound pedantic, Eddie, but Earl Crabtree made no attempt to play that ball when he got onto his feet. Here's the one where they went close. It's onto the boot and was turned down. The prop forward thought he'd scored, but then they took it back. He never makes any attempt at all. Okay, Chan gets try number 2 as far as his concerned. He just rolls it back.
But the leg came up, didn't it? The left leg came up, and Stewart, that seems to be all that they have to do these days. They don't any longer have to play the ball with the foot, do they?
They have to make an attempt to play the ball with the foot, and there was a movement from Earl Crabtree's foot which will be acceptable.
Well, Danny Brough has just kicked the conversion from bang in front, and Huddersfield lead by 18 points to 0. I know exactly what you're saying, Steve Owen. They could actually pick up 5 out of 6 play the balls in the set. But the point that Stewart makes is once that foot comes up there, see, he made an attempt, but he did roll it back. It's one of the basics of the game. It's what separates the game from others. But it's not been policed properly for years.
You're right.
And if they did, we'd all be on their backs because they'd be blowing for 50 penalties a match.
Well, he did it just again.
I'm going to count, Steve off. That's one that didn't touch it.
Earl Crabtree never even attempted on that occasion. He may have lifted his leg up.
That one was Aaron Murphy, I think it was. He touched it. Was Brett Ferris? No, he doesn't touch it. I'm with you, Eddie. There'll be penalties all over the place,
well,
wouldn't
there?
Well, the penalties are an important part of this game so far.
It.
It's 6-1 at the moment in favour of Huddersfield. The reason why they've had so much possession, and you'd expect them to be in front really with that sort of dominance really with the ball, but the kicking game, the tackling has been outstanding so far. Ben Cockayne does that particularly well here to take in that possession.
He does, because he was off balance all over the place and he still managed to hang on to it. I mean, I don't really think we should go down the line of this play the ball business.
Well, the thing is, we've just seen...
We're on a nice celebration here.
I know, we've just seen 4 on the trot.
I know, but we see that every week in Super League.
Do you know what I think we should concentrate and focus on? Danny Brough, Luke Robinson and Sean Lunt. The distribution, the decision-making, the quality of the skill on show from those 3 is exceptional.
Oh, what an offload that was, though, from Andy Raleigh. Here is Richie Mathers. Well, they haven't given it up, Wakefield. They don't think this is a foregone conclusion, but they need some possession.
Yeah, and they came out firing, didn't they? It was evident when they all rushed in for it. Well, you can't really call it a brawl, a maul.
It was Anakin. It was Anakin that was who took the ball in, but here's Ali Lauatiti on the last that is still the last, and a little chip forward is picked up by Scott Griggs. And this fellow's been exceptional this year as well.
Great positional work there by Griggs. Ali Lauatiti showing the skill factor yet again. A little offload from there. He'll certainly add a little bit of extra firepower. But he's had a good season, Scott Griggs.
Interesting if it's Warrington and Huddersfield making it to Old Trafford and the Griggs brothers are on opposite side of the fence.
It certainly would. I tell you what's been a real good advantage as well is the way that McGilvray and Murphy, the 2 wingers, they're quite prepared to jump in and run from dummy half. And this is why Huddersfield are in such a good position. And when they get the kick away, they just turn in, Wakefield around time and time again. Look at that chase. That's tremendous.
There's a lovely dink over the top by Robinson, who's in there. Number 7 in the Huddersfield colours.
Well, I guess our eye's been caught by the tries that have been scored, but Huddersfield's defence has been fantastic, Eddie. They've made almost 80 tackles and haven't missed a single one. Obviously, they've made ground and they've made breaks, but defensively, they've been equally as impressive, if not more so.
Yes, it's stats like that could easily see you on the way to a big run in the playoffs. But here goes Dean Collis. Here goes Dean Collis. And there were a couple of tackles missed there, just after we pointed out how solid they've been in defence. Huddersfield just fall off Collis. Here is Mathers, gives it infield to Goulding. He will then find Lee Smith. Smith finds Mariano, and oh dear.
No one near him, and he knows it. Well, they haven't had many opportunities in this particular game, and you could see there that he just took his eye off the football at the vital moment, trying to look to see who was coming for him. He knows it.
Frankie Mariano, not the best moment. More live Super League coming for you on Thursday. We begin our Thursday run all the way through to Old Trafford, Thursdays and Fridays to October the 5th. This Thursday, the battle for third. Winners will finish third, Wigan or Leeds, 8 o'clock here on Sky Sports 2. Saturday, Bradford, and will they be the league leaders? Huddersfield, 5:30, same place.
Get up, go two.
David Fayumu for the Huddersfield Giants. 29 minutes gone, 18-0. They lead. One hand on that shield. Danny Brough with a long raking kick, looking for a 40-20. Cocaine can't let this go and doesn't. But look where he has to run it back from his own in-goal area, and Robinson is the first there.
Well, we shower praise time and time again when we come here and watch the Huddersfield Giants on Danny Brough, but I tell you something, Luke Robinson is having the time of his life out there.
Just shows you what an appearance on Boots and All can do for you. He was in the Leeds studio on Wednesday talking about this big day, this potentially big night. There he is, Luke Robinson.
He's having a wow of a game, that is for sure.
He went to the Grand Final in 2003, 10 years ago with Wigan.
Now, is there a problem with Danny Brough?
No, I think that was a free play, wasn't it? I think it was a free play, wasn't it? Oh, and hello, the cameras fell off.
Was it an interception, an attempted interception from Brough, but he couldn't take the ball in? I think the ball will be given to Wakefield, I would have thought, Eddie.
Just take it off, mate.
I think that's what he's ruled. It was a knock-on by Danny Brough.
Yeah, he got one. He just got one.
I think somebody collided, or he collided, or something collided with the referee's camera. It's a knock-on by Brough.
Yeah, couldn't get to it, could he? Just shows his frustration when just kicked the ball downfield.
Sorted out. Back in business.
There we go.
No problems. All working.
Heads in, boys. Heads in, wait, okay.
So Tim Roby's happy. The scrum feed goes Wakefield's way. We're 10 minutes away from half-time.
Yeah, hold, mate. Go.
Well, Wakefield really should take a leaf out of Huddersfield, because their kicking game has not been very good at all.
Huddersfield's defence, Phil's already talked about how impressive it's been. You've identified the kicking game of Robinson and Brough, but I think the game plan's been good as well.
Chance here for Peter Fox. He comes back down the right wing and cuts inside, gets the ball away to Mathers.
Wasn't that touch? Should that be back to 6?
No, he's kept the tackle count going as Tim Roby. Big, solid drive up the middle. Ayton. Lee Smith. Poor kick.
Yeah.
Straight to Michael Lawrence.
Give him credit though, Lawrence. Was it McGilvray?
No, it was McGilvray.
Yeah,
I beg your pardon.
McGilvray. His positioning was excellent there. That is for sure. Now then, can Wakefield just apply the pressure? Because Huddersfield, every time that Wakefield kicked, the Giants have been able to get back in the opposing half.
Steve, I'm going to finish my point. The contrast in the kicking games from both teams Every time Wakefield kick the ball, they're kicking from, you would almost say there's a little bit
a
panic.
40-20 attempt.
And look at that.
Gone the wrong way.
They're giving Peter Fox and Ben Kane all that running. It's always behind them, constantly behind them, and then there's a solid wall to meet them.
It shouldn't be forgotten, of course, that Tim Smith is no longer a Wakefield Trinity Wildcat. He was the main kicker. He was the man who directed this team around the field for Richard Agar.
Oh, he's a big loss.
He is a loss. He's now at Salford. He won't play. The irony is he won't play for the rest of the season because he's been signed too late. So he's on an extended holiday, Tim Smith, and he'll come back next year for the Salford City Reds. And we'll find out more, of course, about who the City Reds have signed and their new name change and all the other plans from Dr. Kukash on Thursday, especially convene news conference. We'll have to wait a few days before we can bring news of that to you, but there we go. The kick from Cocaine is too long, too many legs. Well, that's an interesting hairstyle from Ben. Here comes, that's round the...
Oh, that should be a penalty.
It is.
Lartiti.
Are they still on a warning?
I was just about to say, aren't they on a warning?
Well, I think the warning was about 10 minutes ago, so he's probably thought that that's a decent enough period.
In my opinion, no penalties. We had a good run, all right?
He's just said exactly that. We've had a good run, no penalties, so the warning is nullified.
Well, it's very rare you see Lartiti swinging the arm like that.
10. Thank you.
Although there's been a good spell of no penalties, it is 6 penalties in a row to Huddersfield.
Move. Come on, Alan. Hold.
So Kyle Wood, once upon a time a Wakefield Trinity Wildcat, at the play the ball. Lovely ball from Robinson to Patrick. The ball shoots out, it came backwards, so play on. Here is Wood again. Wood then gets it away to Cudjoe. Cudjoe with the strength to take 2 men towards the line. And they with the strength to take him towards the sideline. Wood once more. And here's Chan, he's after a hat-trick.
Look how
Papua New Guinea international, Jason Chan.
Look how far the first receiver is. Watch out, Kyle Wood. He'll pick him out. That's great stuff.
Robinson gives it to Murphy, Brough. He dabs it through. Chase on here. Mathers to the rescue because a Kumutai was after that.
And again,
Mathers got clattered in the process.
And again, it's been a masterclass, hasn't it, in regards to the kicking game from Huddersfield.
And he makes that split decision because his runners, he's not happy with the formation that they're in. He just puts it in that in-goal area, and Richie Mathers has no option. Get it off the island. And let's just calm things down. Danny Brough having a wonderful game.
So goal line drop out for Wakefield. They're in no particular rush to take this.
But they're great tactics by the Giants. You've just got to applaud them in regard, because, you know, it's saving a lot of energy. This kicking game is taking a lot of energy out of Wakefield, but, you know, they've been able to rest their forwards, the Giants. It's great tactics from this man, Paul Anderson.
Knock on.
He said I didn't.
Scott Griggs.
He said I didn't.
Well, he did, and probably because the ball was played correctly.
Oh, he's kept hold of it.
Tell you what.
He's kept hold of it.
Tell you what, he's got it spot on, as Scott Griggs said I didn't. Too late, son. Rope has already said that you've knocked on. This is wonderful, isn't it? No knock on there.
No, there wasn't.
He's a good lad. He very rarely lies, Scott Griggs. Irish international will be hoping to be in place for the World Cup at the end of the year.
Mariano will have a charge. 5 minutes to the half-time break.
They're desperate now, Wakefield. They know they've got to get on the scoreboard.
Lauatiti stands, gets the ball away. That bounced.
Backwards.
It was a knock-on. It was a knock-on against the Huddersfield man. And Kyle Wood was sniffing the opportunity, and he got his hands to it.
I just heard something on the ref's mic then. Ali Lauatiti saying, I need more talk. Ali Lauatiti will throw an offload anywhere. If he can find a reference, sometimes it's visual, sometimes it's audio. He just hears a voice and he's got the right skill set to find that. He's asking for his Wakefield teammates to give him a little bit more communication.
As he's agreed to stay next year, Lauatiti, as has the man with the ball there, Lee Smith, who's just given it to Cockayne. And the offload is all along the deck to Collis, and under pressure from Brough, Collis drops it.
Great work.
Well, is this Wakefield out of sorts, or is it great defence from Huddersfield?
Well,
or is it 6 and 2 threes?
They're jumping out of the blocks of the Giants. No two ways about it. They know even at 18-0 up that they've got to be able to put the pressure, and Danny Brough certainly did that. Get into the face. Got to hold on to it. It's becoming a bit of a nightmare for Richard Agar, the Wakefield coach. He knows they're being hammered in the forwards. The kicking game against them has just been outstanding.
I do feel sorry for Richard, because all the hard work of the last 2 years that he's put in and got the Wildcats into playoff contention this time last year, it all looks as though it might be getting dissipated.
Not impressed, Mr. Agar. But it was all
legal. Stuart, he's still got his hand on the floor.
Well, it's only because Danny Washbrook has come over the top of him. He couldn't get up to play the ball. So the first offence is clearly Danny Washbrook. He's got to come out and back and tackle.
So chance for Huddersfield to post more points just before half-time.
Great run there by Patrick.
Yes, he's impressive off the bench, Lon Patrick. Here is Robinson, good when he gets his hand on the ball. This, once again, is McGilvray, such a strength. It's over the line, but that is held up.
Yeah, the upper body strength there was certainly on show by Jermaine McGilvray.
Now they're lined up in a diagonal across the field from right to left. So here they come, the Giants, with Robinson. He just pops it up to Fayumu.
Keep your eye out, Scott Griggs. Will he come late? Second phase.
Kyle Wood scampers away. Robinson. There is Brough. Over the top from Brough. Picked up by Scott Griggs. So it's back to 0 in the tackle count. That is now the first tackle. And here is Brough again. Showed it to Ferris. And then gave it to Okumatai. Wood again. Here is Brough in centre field. Gets the short pass away, but it was forward.
Good tackle by Anakin.
I agree, mate. You've got to be impressed with Wakefield. They're like a boxer with a steel jaw. They've had so many punches thrown at them on their own line, and yet they're hanging in here. Even over their own line, they managed to do enough to prevent Huddersfield from scoring what would be a fourth try that would extend the lead. And at 18-0, they can go in if they can stay at this point. Still alive in this contest, despite playing almost the entire first half on their own try line.
Minute and a half to go. Wakefield with the ball in hand for the time being, so you imagine that Huddersfield might get another crack at them before the half-time siren sounds. This is Lauatiti trying to plough his way upfield. Cockayne is the man at dummy half.
But you can see quite clearly, Eddie, and it has been the case right the way through for the first half, is that Wakefield can't get over the advantage. The Huddersfield defence is far too strong, but it's become easy for the Giants when they've got possession.
This fella's always a danger for Wakefield, Dean Collis. Cockayne dummy half again. Here comes Kermond. Kermond, nowhere for him to go, only to the ground. And here comes the last for Wakefield. It's a high kick.
Not a bad one either.
Very well taken by Griggs. And he'll try and return it with some interest. And it takes as far as Washbrook, that's all.
Now, can Wakefield try to apply the pressures, just stop them? Time and time again, the Giants just play the ball quickly. They've been catching him out at the first and second markers.
Robinson with a dink over the top. Oh, and that's bounced off. I thought that had bounced off the knee. Paul Anderson a little shake of that. I don't think he's impressed with the fact that they're only 18-0 up.
Well, the idea was okay, but I'm not so sure that Cockayne.
He was counter-attacking, trying to kick it through.
You should have pick it up with your hands and get on with it.
Well, they're going to go ahead and feed at this scrum. 7 seconds remaining. No full back at home. wonder if they'll have a little kick and chase.
Well, they should.
Goulding has seen it, but I don't think anybody else read the script.
This will go into the touch, and that should be it.
Yes, there's the half-time siren. Paul Anderson, 6 years an assistant at the Giants, following his retirement as a player. Paul Anderson won the double twice in the winning teams of Bradford and St Helens, and his chairman Ken Davey hopes that the next 40 minutes will see them crowned as league leaders 2013, topping the table for the first time in 81 years. They made a really good start. They were ahead in 4 minutes through Chan, 13 minutes, Ferris added another, and then Chan got his second on 24 minutes. And Wakefield at that stage had no answer, but they have been dogged, they've been determined, and they have kept them out ever since. But 18-0 to Ken Davies' men at the break. This week we will see Bradford against Huddersfield at 5:30 in the same place. Bradford-Huddersfield, will they be crowned as league leaders? Well, the omens look good. They lead here by 18 points to 0 at half-time. The 2 tries from Jason Chan and Brett Ferris with 1, and Danny Brough has kicked all 3 conversions. And they know they are just 40 minutes away from claiming the Shield and finishing top of the pile for the first time in 81 years. Richard Agar has done well to galvanise the troops, bearing in mind all the trials and tribulations off the field over the past 24 hours. Can he just get one more big effort out of them here in the second half? John Wells has been looking at that first 40 minutes for us. Huddersfield impressive for 25 minutes, John.
They were, and they've been playing some amazing rugby league at times this season. A real party atmosphere here tonight, expecting not just a win but an exhibition. So the first try was a bit anticlimactic in terms of the spectacle itself. Just a short-range effort, and Lunk getting a kind of half offload, and across for the first try, 6 when converted from Danny Brough. Despite what looked like a few nerves early on, Huddersfield soon into the stride. A great line from Kopchak, a viable pass option meant Danny Kerman got pulled out of the line, and Robinson dispatched Brett Ferris to make it 12. Jason Chan then finally did what Crabtree and Kopchak couldn't do in the preceding 2 plays, and that was ground the ball in goal. And Chan's try took them 3 tries clear of an increasingly frustrated Wildcats team. But this is where they get you. In assembling a pack in his own image, Paul Anderson has given Brough and Robinson the best gift that halves can ask for on the field, and that's time and the ability to play on the front foot after plays like that. But they're working without the ball as well. Some crunching hits midfield and some smart pressure defence on the edges like this in situations like that. On the rare occasions the Wakefield have been lucky enough to be in Huddersfield's half with tackles in the bank. So job half done then for Huddersfield. It's all gone according to plan in the first 40 minutes, despite a few what you would call nerves, I guess. It is a big occasion. There's a big crowd here tonight. For Wakefield, yes, they have been through the mill off the field, but in terms of what they're doing on the field, they have had a little bit of joy on that right edge. Dean Collis, a very tricky customer, great step, and he's causing Danny Brough and company a couple of problems there. So I dare say that's where Richard Agar will be pointing his charges for the second half. But it all looks as if we're heading towards a predetermined conclusion here, Eddie, and that's a Huddersfield win.
Yeah, it looks that way, John. When you think we were there right at the beginning of this story, weren't we? The first weekend we saw Huddersfield Giants go to St Helens and beat the Saints by 40 points to not many that night at Langtree Park. And here we are now, and they have got just 40 minutes to go, and they just might be crowned as league leaders for 2013. I was looking at Barry last night on some of the websites, and one bookmaker's website had Huddersfield, would you believe, at 40-1 on to win this match, and Wakefield 9-1 against. I think the odds have lengthened somewhat at half-time.
Yeah, and do you know, I'm not sure I agree with John Wells there. I don't think they're nervous at all, Huddersfield. I think they're showing heck of a lot of composure. I think the game plan, and that goes back down to Paul Anderson and the instructions he's given his team before they took the pitch. I think the game plan is superb. They keep kicking long. As I said, the quality, the absolute pristine precision on the passes from Brough, from Robinson and Sean Lump when he's on. It's going 10, 15 metres from dummy half right on the button, and that's what's given, and John Wells said it, time and space. All halfbacks want time to make those decisions. And hopefully take advantage of some opportunities that pop up.
Yeah, there was a song many years ago called Almost There. They are almost there now, the Huddersfield Giants. I know that we've got to weigh their prospects for the playoffs against what we're seeing today. They will come up against much stronger opposition than this in the playoffs. And we've said all year that the Giants are the real deal. Have they got it in them to get to Old Trafford, do you think?
I think they have, Eddie, and I think I've talked about the individual components there. I also said that Ferris and Chan would have a big bearing on the game. There's the 3 tries between those 2 players. But I think the strength of the unit is greater than the individual people in it. I think they function really well as a unit, and I think once Danny Brough, his kicking game, once Luke Robinson, his passing game and the bravery he shows, whether he's playing at 7 or at 9, he's not a weak link in defence. He really shows up that defence. I think they've only missed 3 tackles. Phil mentioned it after about half an hour. They've only missed 3 tackles.
3 after that, didn't it?
Yeah, and I think them were the only 3 that they've missed so far. So the minds are well on the job, and I think they've got composure. I think they've got this game. Not to say that Wakefield won't come back, because they will, but I think they've got this game.
And do you remember Almost There? Can you remember that song?
Did Oasis sing it?
Yeah, okay, fair enough. I know I was wasting my time. They are almost there, and if they get there, we'll have Barry singing the Oasis version of Almost There at the end of the game tonight. Huddersfield are very nearly the league leaders of 2013. They lead here by 18 points to 0, a couple of tries from them in the second half, and it really will be party time down here at the John Smith Stadium. The players are emerging for the second half, and this is the scoreline: Huddersfield 18, Wakefield 0. But what is the story behind the scoreline? Phil with the stats.
Eddie, well, the possession and position that teams have in rugby league are very important. And if we look at the action areas for Huddersfield first, they've had a total of 77 play the balls, with the 3 boxes on your right of your screen, 20 in total near their opponent's line, and from those 20 play the balls, they've come up with 3 tries. They've had more action at the bottom on the right, using Cudjoe and McGillivray as often as possible. Turning it over and looking at their opponents, Wakefield in possession, 56 play the balls, 21 less. That's a massive difference in a half of rugby league. And just 1 chance close to opponent's line on your left-hand side of the screen. 1 chance in their opponent's 20 metres on. Contrast that to their own half of the field. They've had most of the ball near their own try line, in their own 20 metres on. If they can turn that over, I think they may have a try in them. This is going to be a very tough 40 minutes.
Yes, a tough 40 minutes lying ahead for Wakefield, but for the Giants, well, fans, young and old, are ready to celebrate the league leadership of 2013. And Luke Robinson we just saw, and Danny Brough we're looking at now with Sean Lump. It's been an overall team effort, though, from start to finish for the Giants this year. But there have been a couple of outstanding players in a group of outstanding individuals as a team. 18-0 they lead. This is the penultimate weekend. Next week it's Wigan Leeds, and that is the game, of course, that will decide third, and the team that loses will probably be coming here to Huddersfield in the first week of the playoffs. Bradford will entertain Huddersfield next week. It's Hull and Saints, Wakefield, Castleford, Catalan against Warrington, Hull KR London, and Salford against Widnes. That's the programme next weekend, and then we hit the playoffs. We'll be up and running all the way to Old Trafford.
And I think that's the reason why Paul Anderson, the Giants coach, would have said to his team at half-time, say, look, we have to keep playing well. We've got to show not just their own fans, but the opposition, as you say, the Leeds or Wigan, that they can play very, very good rugby league football.
Well, let's find out what Paul Anderson has been saying at half-time. Here's Rod Studd with the half-time news.
Well, that's about the story of the first half. That knock-on by Wakefield, and Paul Anderson delighted, as you can see, as well. Pretty pleased, Eddie, as you'd expect, knowing they're 40 minutes away from achieving their objective, just requiring the same professional performance that we saw in the first half from Huddersfield. Good kicking games, solid stuff, forcing errors and scoring tries when the opportunity was afforded to them. Pretty low in the Wakefield dressing room, low on morale, Eddie, as you'd expect, given the circumstance of the past week. And too many penalties given away and too many errors, and Richard Agar feeling if they can rectify that, they can still at least be competitive in this second 40 minutes.
Yes, I think that's the word that he has to use, competitive. And he's going to have a very competitive winter, is Richard Agar, rebuilding the side. Huddersfield looking to put this game to bed. Wardle, Murphy! Oh, and he's got a bang in the process of scoring this try. Aaron Murphy. Formerly with Wakefield, of course, the number 18. This is his best ever season by some distance. He got a bit of a bang for his pains. Looks like he's going to be okay.
The knock on by Lee Smith, you can see he took his eyes off the ball. Even at top class level, you can come up with a schoolboy error. But this was excellent play. Again, the use of the dummy runners, just absolutely confusing it. They squeezed in tight, the Wakefield defence. And Aaron Murphy made full of the offload as well. Squeezes in at the corner. A little bit of a knock. But he appears to be okay. He's had a wonderful season himself. And, well, we mentioned the fact that the Giants should put on a bit of a show. For all these fans that have turned up tonight. And I think they'll be confident that they'll have that league leader shield and Danny Brough.
Yeah, misses with that conversion attempt, but 22 points to nil is a healthy scoreline for the Giants.
Well, people have spoken about how they're a team, and this is a great team try, isn't it? When you've got more attackers running than there are defenders, you've got every chance. The man making the pass can find the right one. There's going to be somebody in space, and Murphy shows that. But the Wakefield supporters who made the journey here, just frustrated really that their side are watching former players from Wakefield score against them here now. Aaron Murphy is another example of that. The Wakefield club have exported players. This kick found the dead ball line.
Well, Murphy went for the kick-off on the fall. He got a call from behind him by the looks of things. It was going out, but it wasn't. And David Fayum looks round and says, it wasn't me. Must have been somebody behind me in the crowd.
A Wakefield fan.
A Wakefield fan on the front row. Leave it! And he did. Goal line dropout.
He couldn't believe it, Murphy, because he turned around and he says, you called. No, I didn't. He'll learn from that, Murphy.
Yeah, not to take any notice of anything he hears.
Yeah, naughty fans. If you're under the ball, Eddie, you know, and it looks as though you can get to it, then get it and shout out, it's mine.
Lee Smith hanging on this time. Will play the ball to Ayton. And Anakin is spun to the ground on the second tackle. Ayton again, midway inside the Giants' half of the field with Richie Mathers.
A little bit more running as well for the dummy half position. Try to confuse the first and second markers on the Giants. It's been far too much just one-out football, but the good offload there.
Well, the Wakefield Trinity Wildcats, they won here last year, 35 points to 14. Richie Mathers scored a try in that game. And here is Andy Raleigh. Oh,
he's lost it.
That's been the story of Wakefield's night, I'm afraid.
Yeah, too many errors, too many missed tackles. Raleigh really should have kept hold of that ball, couldn't. But again, it's this pressure that the Giants put on the opposition. I must say I've been watching a wonderful battle that's been going on out there. Joe Wardle, his defence against the big fella Danny Kerman throughout this game has been superb. We normally see Kerman rampaging through any defence, but Wardle has his measure tonight.
Well, I'm probably going to put the mockers on Huddersfield here because they haven't, as yet, kept any team in Super League in 2013 scoreless. I just wonder if that is one little target that Paul Anderson has set his players.
I bet he did, Eddie. I bet he got them in the dressing rooms at half-time and said, let's keep that big fat zero at the side of Wakefield's name. I've been watching the first 5 minutes of the second half, and I think Wakefield may well have got themselves in the dressing room at half-time and said, let's ask some questions, let's throw some offloads and make sure we play a little bit. It's no good kicking, completing. We can't play that game against Huddersfield. They're a little bit better than that job, than us.
At that job than
we'll
us.
get it out eventually.
Yeah, you got it there in the end. When you think Wakefield, you know, they're obviously going through the horrors tonight and at the moment, but think back just over a decade. Huddersfield were the perennial also-rans, weren't they? They were never off the foot of the table. But they've gradually turned it round. Tony Smith, John Sharp, help me out here with a few more names. Nathan Brown came along, didn't he?
Al really was there at that point, at the beginning of that process as well. So Huddersfield have had to do a lot of stuff. They've had to do a lot of rebuilding off the pitch.
And our old pal John Keir, of course, was involved as well. And now it has fallen to Paul Anderson.
And he's done a fine job, hasn't he? He should be extremely pleased.
Well, he should be the coach of the year, Steve.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. I'll be astounded if he didn't get the nod.
He came up, I remember one year for the Man of Steel, he came up actually to pick it up for Nathan. Nathan Brown had gone back to Australia before the Man of Steel ceremony, and Paul came up and collected it on Nathan Brown's behalf. He gave me a knee in the ribs as well, I remember that night. Something about a drop goal I mentioned, or a penalty goal that he kicked for Saints. He wasn't happy about that. But he'd be happy about this. And here is Cudjoe attacking them. Great ball out the back. McGilvray is too strong. Ken Daly on his feet. Broad smiles. He had his fingers crossed before the game. Ken, you can uncross them now. This team is going to finish top of the pile.
And what a way to celebrate as well. McGilvray, the pass was superb, one-handed. He knew he couldn't squeeze in at the corner, so he put the step on. The defence was too brittle. And the big giant, as well as another giant, Jermaine McGilvray. He'll enjoy that, and the fans have certainly. Well, we hope that they would turn it on. And look at this, Danny Brough, tease it, in and out, show it all about, then get it moving. Great hands, watch the centre, sucks in, Ben Cockayne, and then just does the step. They had the numbers, but the step undid them. Tremendous stuff. Look at that, one-handed, bang, went too high, did Cockayne.
And the kick isn't bad either from Danny Brough. 28 points to 0. Get the champagne in the fridge, because Huddersfield will be celebrating tonight.
Well, they're showing all of the ingredients of a winning champion side here, aren't they? Half-backs running at defenders, then offloading the ball and keeping it alive. But probably the most important aspect that I think they've shown today is not what they've done when they're in possession, but when they've done without it. You know, you can still attack your opponents when they have the ball, and the way that they've approached the defence tonight here has shown an attacking mindset. They want to harass, force Wakefield into error that they have done tonight, and turn over possession and convert from it. And you can see the delight for the chairman. I mean, they'll probably win the League Leaders' Shield. I guess he'd want to forget how much that trophy's probably cost him.
Yes, you're probably right. He invested millions, hasn't he? But it's all coming good, all paying dividends. And if you look down this list of Huddersfield players, there isn't one player out there tonight who has won a league leadership with their club. But their coach has. Paul Anderson has been a league leader 6 times as a player. Bradford and Saints, twice with Bradford, 4 times with Bradford, twice with Saints. And look at the confidence that his men are playing with here. Keeping the ball alive. They just can't get them down, Wakefield.
Good work again by Cudjoe.
Here's Brough. This could be one of the tries of the century. No. It's going to be the free play, and they're not interested in that, Brett Ferris. Well, so often in the past, we have turned up here with our cameras when Huddersfield have been on a roll and they've fallen foul. Tonight, they've got a big crowd in, we're here, and they are treating everybody to some champagne stuff.
Good work there by Lee Smith, but he knew he was stretched again. The quality we saw from the centre, Leroy Cudjoe. They've enjoyed it, and they know that they're going to stay around for the presentation. Amazing, isn't it? 4 years on the trot, they picked up the wooden spoon, and yet just over a decade, they've turned it all around. Who would have thought it?
Do you know, Steve, I think that's where they're winning this game. Every time Huddersfield go into collision, they're winning that particular battle, and their skill set, and oh, there you go.
Barry, that's the curse, you see.
Yeah. I was just about to talk about Luke Robinson and Danny Brough, and apart from that blemish, they've been absolutely superb.
Yeah, a bit of a high shot as well, and the offload. I think Kyle Wood got a little bit of a late challenge, not seen. They're pulling it. That should be a penalty. Not allowed to do that. Brough says, "What? You're kidding."
I thought they could call. Porsche didn't think they could call.
He's got it right as the official.
He said they called held, but it was a matter of a millisecond.
He did. He called held, but I think it was always inevitable they're going to go in. He called held at that point, and they end up over. That's why the penalty is. If they managed to stop, which is very difficult, I appreciate, it wouldn't have been a penalty.
No, they had no chance of stopping, did they? They only had one eye for the whitewash. That was it.
And it was clear that Murphy was pulling.
Yeah, but it's that attitude in defence. I know they've been penalised there, but that typifies what they've done. They've tried to force their opponents backwards or even cough up possession, and it's why they've looked so good, and the score gives them a 28 lead.
Now then, a threat on their line coming here with Mathers, who pops it up to Kermond.
We often speak about you can't just say one man can make a team, but I tell you what, Wakefield are missing Tim Smith tonight, aren't they?
Yes, they are. Lauatiti still going. Big Ali, another one of his trademark offloads to Ayton. Ayton dabs it in, and Grix picks it up and just runs it dead.
Yeah, does the right thing. Nothing fancy when you're leading 28-0. You don't have to.
And there's those offloads, Steve. As I say, I think they've said we need to ask some questions. We need to make the Huddersfield defenders have more to think about. And that offload from Lauatiti gave the opportunity to Wakefield. They'll get another set of possession now. Let's see what they can do.
It was a decent kick by the hooker, Paul Ayton, but once again, Scott Grix in a good position. His positional play at full-back has really improved this year.
Underneath the dropout is Bobby Goulding, and he pops it up to Oliver Wilkes. Right, a second set of 6 then for Wakefield. What can they do with it? Ayton gives it to Justin Poor. Ayton's in there again. We'll come down the right-hand side this time with Goulding. To Kermond. Nearly through Kermond, but then the reinforcements arrive in the shape of Brett Ferris. He nearly turned Joe Wardle inside out. It's with Mathers, who finds Goulding again. Here's Wilkes riding the tackle. Back it comes to Lee Smith. Smith gives it some air and finds Lauatiti. Lauatiti tangling with Robinson.
Robinson is not going to let go, so you're not offloading this occasion. Lauatiti just gives him a tap and says, well done.
Mathers again. Mathers, short ball to Wilkes. Solid defence. Here comes the last for Wakefield.
And the great tackle from Brett Ferris. He's worked overtime. Oh, that was had a big rake cross on that one. Shocking pass.
Sums up Wakefield's night, doesn't it?
No. They're just not at the races, are they? And they know it.
And just as they think they've got something to shout about, you look on the sideline, the two bookends, Kopchak and Crabtree, getting ready to come back on to add some power to the Giants. Look at them.
Yes, every good team needs a couple of bookends, doesn't it?
Can't play the game without them, Ed.
Absolutely.
No, just in. Hold the 10 boys, hold. Go.
And McGilvray is held. So Kermond has to release him. Plays the ball to Kyle Wood. Here's Robinson. That was Chan was almost through, and that's the penalty. It went against Wakefield because Ayton would not allow him to get to his feet and play it properly. Look.
Yeah, just kept hold of the leg. But again, you saw the enthusiastic Giant player get us it right. Come on, let's get away from it. Good work from Kyle Wood. He was away. It's been a feature. The Giants runs from dummy half. absolutely split this Wakefield defence time and time again. But it's runs like that from Kopchak.
Yeah, tremendous run again from Kopchak. 9 penalties to 2 in Huddersfield's favour. That certainly hasn't helped the Wakefield cause. Wardle on the diagonal run. They've got more points in them, Huddersfield, I think. Here comes Crabtree. Down he goes 10 metres from the line. Halfway through this set of 6. Wood goes to Brough. Brough then finds Robinson. Robinson thought about ducking underneath Ali Lauatiti. Couldn't get small enough to go underneath him.
He thought he got a good wallop there, pleading to the official.
Brough found Crabtree. Crabtree offloads back to Brough. Brough with a bullet pass to Murphy forward. He's getting it forward. Well, I tell you what, Danny Brough ended up in the in-goal area here.
Well, he's not happy either, is it? Like to see that again. His Huddersfield players all know he's got that in his tool bag. Danny Brough, look at this. Stewart, forward.
Out of his hands, it's gone forwards. You can see that. Doesn't matter how far he runs. Doesn't matter at all.
But he's in front of the ball.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's still on the pass. It's where you pass the ball. You know, you could lob the ball 5 yards forward and run in front of it. That doesn't make it okay. You know, the ball's passed forward out of the hands. It's drifted forward. You can see it here.
You've just blown the momentum rule out of the water, Stuart.
At last, it took me 16 years to do that.
He's done that a few times this season, Danny Brough, and it's never been picked up. Anyway, that one was 28-0. The touch judge, I think, gave the call, and well, 28-0. It probably won't make any difference. It might in a grand final.
I think the official got it right, actually. I think when we saw it from the sideline, Eddie, you could see that Brough's hands was pointing forward, and that's sufficient for the touch judge as well. Combining well with Tim Rowe, with the referee. Now they can Wakefield just get some sort of consolation.
Well, the only test now remaining in this game for Huddersfield is their concentration. Whether they've got another 23 minutes here of playing at the same intensity and focus that they've had. Frankie Mariano sit wide to Cocaine and he attempts to kick it through. But at the moment, everything the white shirts try is covered.
Well, watch Luke Robinson on this play. He says, I've got the man with the ball. It's Frankie Mariano. He then leaves 2 Huddersfield defenders to look after Ben Cocaine. Great work from Luke Robinson. And eventually, edge defenders leave Ben Cocaine little to no option.
Well, Cocaine was pleading with the official to say that he was obstructed.
Monday week, the 2013 Dream Team will be announced. The voting panel have had their say. I think the final votes have to be in by tomorrow, and then a week hence, as the playoff series is launched, the Dream Team will be announced. How many Huddersfield players do you think will get in that mythical Dream Team this year?
Well, I'll say 2 for definite, and that'd be Danny Brough and Earl Crabtree.
I think Sean Lump, Brett Ferris are in with a shout. Probably 4, I think, Steve-O.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. As I say, we've got plenty of good hookers.
Kopchak's neck went back on the tackle from Danny Washbrook here.
Yeah, went right over the top, tried to pull his arm away to...
I think the point that John Wells made before the game, the Dream Team's picked on the best individual players. Huddersfield might not have that, but they might be the best team. And in a sport like rugby league, being the best team is what counts, rather than having naturally the best individuals.
That's right, and Dream Team by the very nature is it's your dream of who the players are that you want in your team, I suppose.
For once, I'll agree.
I won't ask what your dream dinner party list is, Steve-O, by the way, because...
Just console yourself for the fact that you would not be invited.
No, thank goodness,
okay?
the 3 that you've chosen. Anyway, here they come again. He was nearly through once more with Jason Chan. Yes, he's never got a hat-trick in his career. One's beckoning tonight. That's good defence from Collis, though. Oh, the ball comes out.
Play on.
And Ferris round the corner and off the fingertips of Wardle and into touch.
Well, Ferris did everything right, and Wardle, fingertips, just couldn't get it in. It was virtually a clear run to the line. The ball was going up slightly.
There's some skill on show from Brett Ferris there. Watch the grip on the ball. The ball comes out, and automatically Brett Ferris is looking at Fox thinking, I need to get the ball around the back of Fox to free up a Huddersfield attacker. Great skill.
Mathers into a brick wall that is a Kumatai.
Do you know, it's been so long in this game, Eddie, that I can't remember a clean break by Wakefield at all.
No, I don't think there's been many. Ayton didn't get one then. Then Cocaine gives it to Kermond, and he is scrapped to the floor by Brough. He didn't like it, Danny Kermond.
He certainly did, and he went looking for him.
Here goes Cocaine. Zero play this. Big Earl.
And yet,
well, they're trying hard, Wakefield, but it's just not coming.
Another error, Eddie. It's just been a nightmare.
Cudjoe, doesn't he stand well and get the ball away to Kopjak?
He's been impressive, hasn't he, Cudjoe?
So
is this kid.
Great run, taking Kermond with him to the 20-metre line. Griggs is waiting at dummy half. There's Brough and Robinson. Robinson tries to slide the kick in. It was played at, and it is going to be Wakefield's ball.
Well, I know Huddersfield have had a lot of possession in this game, but you still got to do something with it when your team have hold of the ball, and they've looked particularly strong here tonight.
What will be most pleasing, and I'm sure Paul Anderson will say after the game, is the way that the Giants have defended. They really have scrambled back.
Well, you talk about the defence, Mike. You know, they've made over 200 tackles in this game and only missed 3. You know, 99% success from the defence is outstanding. Look, they made 8 breaks to 1. As I say, even though they've had a lot of ball, they've been creative, there's been variety. It isn't as though everything centres around Danny Brough. They look like a dangerous team tonight.
Murphy penalised for a high shot.
Well, I can't see it there.
Didn't look like it.
He may have hit the ball, but that's about it.
Wilkes will take it forward. League leadership in Super League is so important. In the years that we have had the grand final since 1998. Another mistake, but it went backwards for Wakefield. And well, Jermaine McGilvray is all over Ben Cocaine. He doesn't like it, Cocaine. Just going to make the point that in the years that we've had a grand final, 8 of the 15 league leaders have gone on to compete in the big night. So it is important, and actually not just win it to compete in it, but to win it. It's very, very important to get the top of the table. And not only that, of course, if you get the top of the table, you win your first round in the playoffs, you get the chance to pick your opponents to get to Old Trafford.
Knock on by Lee Smith. It really has been a huge struggle for this Wakefield side, and obviously the financial problems that have been revealed just recently certainly hasn't helped the mindset of this Wakefield Trinity side.
No, they must have arrived tonight deflated.
Yeah.
And they knew the size of the task that faced them against a team going so well as Huddersfield. And Richard Agar has done well to galvanise some sort of spirit out of his players.
But what he'll want, Eddie, is he'll just want his team and its players to do their best. If they can come off the field knowing they've done their best, then that's all the coach can ask. 28 points to nil, it's certainly a difficult uphill task for them to get anything, but there's some pride, and a lot of pride in those shirts for the Trinity Wildcats.
Yeah, it's a lopsided scoreline, but to be fair to them, I think they have done as well as they can be expected to tonight.
Yeah, well, they haven't thrown the towel in, that is for sure. Because this is a superb side, and they've shown it. They've shown some good skills.
Here they come. Look at the handling skills.
They're always looking for something different. They're always probing, spinning around in the tackling. That's been an improvement, especially from the forwards. And the big fella there, Earl Crabtree, he's added a new dimension to his attack.
What a nice little run that was from Lunt as well. Up it goes, high off the boot of Brough. Well claimed. Well claimed by
Mariano.
Frankie Mariano, yes.
Good take under pressure.
Mathers running into a blind alley. Mariano. They're formerly with Huddersfield, of course. No, he isn't. Got the wrong note, sorry. Frankie Mariano, he's off to Castleford in 2014. That's what I meant to say. There's the fellow who once upon a time was at Huddersfield, Danny Kermond. And there's a knock-on from the big fella too.
Yeah, it's, I mentioned it midway through the second half. You know, his battle. He's such a big man, very difficult to put down. But his battle with Joe Wardle has been. It's been a real pleasure to watch.
Well, Steve-O, you were talking about the lack of line breaks from Wakefield. Danny Kermond is the only player, to my knowledge, in only about 20-minute mark that he has brought the line of Huddersfield, but it came from the harassment of the Huddersfield defenders, that mistake.
Ferris trying to outmuscle them down this touchline.
Ooh, headbutted Bobby Goulding in the chest, I mean.
Takes some stopping, doesn't he, Ferris? Brough to Robinson. That was flicked by a hand.
Should be back to 6.
It is. 0 is the call. 0 is the call. So the tackle count restarts here. And Griggs.
But look at the space that Wakefield have allowed. The running from the dummy half position by the Giants has been superb, and it's just been far too much for Wakefield, I'm afraid.
Griggs is waiting, and the ball is played to him by Lunt. Brough again, short ball this time. Lawrence. Lunt to Robinson. Thought about going one way, came the other.
Yeah, he was looking for an inside forward. Normally it would have been there.
Oh, Jason Chan's looking for the hat-trick. The kick into the in-goal area, swept away by Richard Mathers. Pressure, pressure, pressure.
It's a key factor in any sport, and they've been able to handle it.
Steve-O, that's the second row who's putting that kick in. It's not a missed kick, it's a pinpoint perfect kick.
Pinpoint perfect, well done, Barry.
Papua New Guinean. I wonder whether
a pinpoint
Adrian Lamb, the PNG coach, probably watching tonight. Pretty pleased with how Paul Ayton's gone for Wakefield. I have to admire the spirit and character for the players in the white shirts. You know, 28-0, penultimate game in the Super League season for them. And yet there's so much effort still being shown by the side.
Well, Richard Agar's going to learn a lot about his players, and in games like this, you don't want to be the type of player that's looking for the long grass. You want to be the bloke that stands up, keeps defending, and if you go down with a fight.
And plenty to fight for next week when they take on local rivals Castleford in the last game. So they will, one of those two clubs, neighbours, will take the bragging rights into the winter break. It was stolen.
Penalty, yeah, 2-on-1. Well, they've had a trouble trying to get possession, haven't they? But you can see quite clearly Al-Titi whipped the ball away from Chan. Well, still plenty of time remaining. The fans are happy.
Yes, and the presentation cup is a little bit more grand than that. The shield, they will get that in around about 12 minutes time. Crabtree will drive it up the middle. Just needs a last try or two from Huddersfield to put the icing on the cake. Might come here with Robinson. No, it won't. Not with a pass like that.
Well, I think that's about the only second mistake that Luke Robinson has come up with. He's had a fine match. He really has. It's been interesting to see how the two half-backs, they've shared the work, shared the distribution. And that's a massive advantage for the coach, Paul Anderson, to know that you've got the likes of Brough and Robinson out there. Even before the kick-off, Eddie, you know, the opposition is saying who's going to control this game. But the kicking game also by the Giants have been, it will be so pleasing for them to lift that silver trophy.
Yes, the enthusiasm of the likes of Brough and Robinson is infectious. I think if I'm right in saying, though, the kick from Goulding here is easily fielded enough by McGilvray. I think I'm right in saying, Barry, that when we were talking to Luke, the Luke Robinson Glee Club might be missing today, he said, didn't he?
Did he not say it was his sister's birthday and she'd gone to Bradford on a music festival?
I think so, yes. Might be missing his big night. But I bet she'll be there at Old Trafford if they get to the grand final.
Talk about missing. Bobby Goulding certainly didn't miss that effort. You know, for a young scrum half, I think he's done pretty well today here. He made the kick through and then McGilvray charged at him. You know, in the first half, there's only 2 Wakefield players made more tackles than young Bobby Goulding, so out of defeat, there is still some positives.
Absolutely, he's from good stock.
Certainly is, and it's been a difficult game for him when you know he's got to line up against Brough and Robinson. Great work from the hooker, offload. Oh, Joe Wardle, can't believe it. That's the second occasion when he thought that the try line was begging. Then he came up with the error.
It was a free play, though, so they'll go back and get the scrum.
Yep. It's worth it, isn't it? Second effort. That's also been a great feature for this Huddersfield Giants outfit.
I know it doesn't look like it because Joe Wardle's not smiling, but believe you me, Huddersfield are having some fun here. There's 28-0 on the scoreboard, 10 minutes to go. You know you've got to pick up a trophy at the end of the game. They're going to enjoy these last 10 minutes, the Giants players.
Now then, will Danny Brough kick from the scrum?
I think Earl Crabtree is going to score next. I've just got one of those feelings that Big Earl will get over the line.
Here's Cudjoe. Great pass. McGilvray. Too big, too strong. Second try for McGilvray. Well, he's as big as Earl Crabtree, but he's a winger.
After McGilvray, Earl Crabtree is going to score next.
Jermaine McGilvray, once he got the ball from Cudjoe's pass, he was not going to be stopped.
Great combination.
18th of the year.
Great combination, Eddie. The way that McGilvray and Leroy Cudjoe has played. Once he gets the overlap going. I often cringe sometimes when I see Cudjoe carrying the ball with one hand, but it gives him the opportunity to be able to fend and then set his winger up. Not the best defence. Halil Artiti, I think he was having a little bit of a rest out there, actually.
Well, Jermaine McGilvray scored the first try of the season at St Helens way back in February that set the Giants off on their way to this wonderful year that they have had. And he's just scored the latest one here, and can Brough add the extras? The question is academic. It's 34-0.
Well, Huddersfield have passed the ball a lot to the right today, and it's no wonder Leroy Cudjoe just is red hot today. I know Frankie Mariano might not have played a lot of centre, but no wonder they're putting their hands in the right centre. Leroy Cudjoe made that try again there, created the space and time for his winger. And I'll tell you what, in the playoffs, he could be the key maybe to getting this side to the grand final.
Well, he's in my dream team.
Had a dream performance today. I'm with Barry though about Earl Crabtree. It'd be really fitting for him to score the last try here. For 10 years he stood behind his post time and time again when his team conceded tries. You know, they had some embarrassing years and some tough times. He's been through the bad and he's now here for the good. It'd be great for him to get the final try here on a year and to cap off what will be a year of success for the Huddersfield Giants.
He looks like he wants one too.
He's not going to score it from here, I don't think.
Richie Mathers is about 10-15 metres behind the line here. He's screaming for reinforcements. He can see what's coming. College with a good tackle on Brett Ferris. Lunt.
It's been an impressive performance, though, by the Giants. The big crowd turned up tonight. They wanted the celebration. Well, they've got one.
And Danny Brough just drills the ball into touch.
Yeah, he knows the game is well and truly won. No point in wasting too much energy. His kicking game has been superb, as throughout the season as well.
Well, a fabulous crowd inside here. They've all got their little banners. Thank you, Ken. And Ken Davey deserves as much credit for this as anybody else. And he is delighted, as you can see.
Yep, fully deserved. And remember, Paul Anderson, I cannot believe it. Paul Anderson said to all his fans and say, I am sick and tired of people trying to tell me when are Huddersfield going to collapse. Well, they haven't, and they will be lifting that silver trophy. This has been a fine performance, both in attack, but especially in defence. They've had no answer to it, Wakefield. They've been battered and bruised in the forwards. They've certainly missed Tim Smith, the man that's guided them round the field this year. They've tried their damnedest as Wakefield, but the Giants have been just far too good.
And this is Collis as we enter the last 5 minutes. Huddersfield will be back here. This is their last home weekly round fixture, but they will be back here in the playoffs.
That's a great bomb there by Goulding. A great take as well by Scott Griggs.
Oh, and a fumble as well.
I think Richie Mathers dislodged that ball while Scott Griggs was on the floor. Stuart, how did you see that one?
I just saw the ball come out. I'm not sure how it did.
Yeah, it was pulled away by Mathers.
It's a one-on-one tackle because the tackle wasn't complete. He was on his back, so
should have been play on then.
Could have been play on.
Well, the celebrations are starting. It's been a long time between drinks and that champagne. Hopefully the players won't be getting involved with a glass of champers.
I think they should be allowed a small
I think we'll let them have one, Steve. Oh, come on, man.
They've got to be professional about it.
They will be, don't worry, they won't go mad. They won't be getting taken to their bedrooms at 7:30 in the evening and locked up for the night.
Well, I hope not, that's for sure.
Dab to the in-goal area. Oh,
he's knocked on. Aaron Murphy. Sorry, lads.
On in goal by Aaron Murphy, just finishing a little scrappily.
That was a strange decision on the first tackle. Lee Smith puts that ball into the right area and Aaron Murphy can't pick it up.
It's been probably that's about the first good kick that we've seen from Wakefield in the second half, because they've hardly been anywhere near the Giants' goal line. It's been a very, very good team performance.
Goal line dropout is fumbled by Smith, but it went backwards. They're lucky to get away with that, Wakefield. And very soon now, 3.5 minutes, the league leaders' shield will be ready for the trophy cabinet here at the John Smith Stadium. That's what all the fuss has been about. To get to the top of the table, that's the reward, the league leaders' shield. The big prize is beckoning at Old Trafford on October the 5th. The Super League Grand Final trophy.
And fully deserved tonight, and they really have kept a keen eye on this fella, hasn't he, Danny Kerman? He's had a wonderful season. Can they get this consolation try? Paul Anderson will be desperate to say we want to keep that big 0.
They've got to get it off the big frame of Lauatiti first. That's the last one here for Wakefield. 6 metres from the line. Ayton gets it to Smith. The ball inside here is a chance for Anakin, and the defence is solid. And the 0 against Wakefield's name, if it stays that way in 2 minutes, will be as pleasing for Paul Anderson as the 34 points his team have scored.
Well, he's not smiling there.
Well, he'll be telling us tonight the job's not done.
Yeah, look, he's absolutely spot on.
He's got to first base.
Yeah, one job is done, and that's win the trophy. Remember, a major trophy, last time, 1962.
Yes, and that, as you rightly said earlier on, was when they beat Wakefield at 14-5 at Odsal, a week after Huddersfield had lost to Wakefield at Wembley. I'm so pleased for Huddersfield. I'm so pleased for Ken Davey.
I bet he wants extra time, Eddie. He's watched that many games when his team have been embarrassed.
He's not
and lost.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, he's not had many big days out, has he?
Crabtree, Eddie. Earl Crabtree.
Play another 10 minutes.
This is his chance. This is a big Earl's chance.
Yeah, well, why don't we put Earl? He's going into the front row. Put him out at standoff. Let him have a run at the three-quarter line. There's the big fella.
Let's go, boys. Let's get it down.
Has he got lipstick on?
I don't think so. You should know, Baz, it's called blood.
Okay, Danny. So.
Now then, Robinson. Chan wants the hat-trick, of course. There's another personal milestone for him. We enter the last minute. They find Robinson. They find Griggs. Oh, and Griggs fumbles it, but it went backwards. It's coming this way.
Here's a big fella. He's lining up.
He is long. Patrick plays it untidily. It gets to Crabtree. He's over. Has he got it down? No.
Has he got it?
Give it to him.
Oh, come on, Roby.
Killjoy.
Holy moly.
So close to a golden moment for Earl. He'll have to play the ball. And Lump will go through that. Crabtree gets the assist. Lump gets the try. Ken Davey is wreathed in smiles. And Huddersfield are league leaders in 2013. A triumph for Paul Anderson and his team. He's won at Old Trafford as Sean Lunt just last year. Is he one of the key figures to guide the Giants to the theatre of dreams?
There's a big fella. It went ever so close, didn't it? Rowan did well to try to get him through, but Sean Lunt threw the dummy. Paul Ayton took it, and that wraps it up. It wraps up a great season for this hooker. As Eddie has already mentioned, he was there last year as a winner on the big stage at Old Trafford. And as this guy adds the extra two, Danny Brough will be hoping that there's more silverware to be picked up in a few weeks' time.
Well, there it is. They're at first base. They have started now on another journey and another road. And Paul Anderson knows the legacy of 2013. Well, it has been written partly by this victory and this League Leaders' Shield, but the bigger fish have yet to be fried.
That's right. You've got to see it as a pit stop and not the full stop for the year. They've really worked hard to get to this situation, and I'm sure with the experience of the coach, his assistant Kieran Purtle, who's been around the game for a while and understands mentally and emotionally that they've got themselves to this title, and it's a well-deserved one. I'm sure they'll celebrate this, but they do have to keep the mind on the job, which has another few weeks left in it.
Yes, they've succeeded here in keeping a team scoreless for the first time this year, and how fitting in front of probably their biggest crowd of the season, on their biggest night of the season, when they win silver for the first time since '62 and top the table for the first time in 81 years, that they have reserved this performance for this night. Last nilled Wakefield, March 2012. That was on Sky as well at London. 36-0 last season. The 10th time this year that the Huddersfield Giants have topped 40 points. They are, in all but name, a champion team.
Well, they started the season fantastic. 40 points to 4, they won at St Helens. I didn't think that they could continue that way. Well, they finished it at home with a similar performance, and a convincing one in many ways, not just because of the scoreline, but the performance that underpinned it. The foundations were in place for a fantastic playoff series and a possible chance to win the big prize at grand final if they can continue in that sort of fashion.
And if they can keep men like Danny Brough, Sean Lunt, and the man of the match, Luke Robinson, in good health. Here he is with Rod Studd.
Thanks, Eddie. Luke, man of the match performance. There's a bottle of champagne, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebration in Huddersfield tonight. Just tell us how good that feels to be the League Leaders' Shield winners, Huddersfield Giants.
Yeah, it feels pretty good, to be fair. You know, we've played well all year as the league table. You know, said before, I don't lie. We've played consistent stuff, which we probably haven't done in the past. And yeah, it's nice. Obviously, it's first silverware for us, and great for the club and the fans. The chairman's pumped a lot of money in, and the fans have, you know, there might not be a lot of them, but they're very loyal. They come and they pay their hard money, you know, hard-earned money every week to come watch us and support us. And you know, not only is it about the team, it's about the town. the fans and the chairman.
Look, when you came here, everyone was saying Huddersfield are going to win this game and it's going to be easy and they're going to pick up the Shield. So there's also a possibility that everything can go horribly wrong. But it was a very professional performance by the Giants, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, I've had Big Baloo in here all day telling me what I'm doing wrong. And he's been berating us for certain things we've been doing. And, you know, he's always looking for a bit more from us, really. But, yeah, to come away, you know, with a result against Wakefield and Millham is, you know, it's great. But we're not getting carried away. Obviously, it's great for the club, it's great for us. But fingers crossed this is, you know, something, you know, there's going to be something more at the end of it.
Yeah, this is something that's just the start now. You've got pole position in the playoffs, but the aim is for you and the rest of the guys to walk out at Old Trafford. That really would be something, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it was, like I say, it's amazing winning the League League Shield. It was a goal of ours at the beginning of the year. It's great for everybody involved, but you kind of forget who wins it, don't you, when grand final time comes round. And whoever plays well, you know, gets to grand final at Old Trafford and plays the best, that's all you remember. So for us, it's great for now, but we're going to enjoy it tonight, and then after that, we'll be, I'm sure we'll be back training hard. Blues got what to do with it.
Yeah, I'm sure you will be. Just tell us where you're going to send the £100 charity money, Luke, could you?
I'd like to give it to Ria's Rainbow. I'd like to say hello to my little lads at home as well.
OK, well done, well said, Luke, and well played. Let's bring Paul Anderson in, the Huddersfield Giants head coach. But, Paul, there's been a lot of coaches gone before you at Huddersfield that have laid the platform, but it's you that's got the baton in your hand as you've gone over the line. So how good does that feel to be the man steering them to the League Leaders Shield?
Oh, yeah, it feels good. Obviously, winning's better than losing, and it's not about me, it's not about our staff, it's about the real good group of players that we have at this club, and they all work hard for each other, and if you keep working hard, you get rewards, don't you?
Give us an assessment on your team's performance tonight.
I thought the game as a whole was a bit scrappy. Wakefield came here to spoil things and giving penalties away and high shots, and I don't think it ever was conducive to a fluent game, but we did what we had to do. We're professional, and the scoreboard speaks for itself.
You'll be at home in the first round, the players from pole position. It'll be Leeds or Wigan in the first round. Give us a thought on that. I know it's a fortnight away.
Oh, you play who you play, don't you? The only thing is it's a different competition then, but I don't want to say that all year. I've got Bradford in my mind now, and we'll move on to Bradford, and then obviously the playoffs, so that's a whole different competition.
Do you feel that your team has got enough credit? Because people still are talking about Warrington and Wigan being the favourites.
I couldn't care less. We'll just keep doing what we do, and I've got to pay a massive tribute to the spectators here today. There's nearly 9,000 come out, and they're all Huddersfield fans. So 9,000 Huddersfield fans, and what happened today, when I came to the stadium today, there was an atmosphere, and the players thrived on it, and like I said, the scoreboard showed that, and this is for them, and obviously for our club, our chairman and his family.
Good on you, Paul. Many congratulations.
Cheers, mate.
Very well said, Paul Anderson. People don't give them credit. I don't care. Couldn't care less. They'll give them credit when they pick this up in a few moments' time. They will also give them credit if and when they get to Old Trafford. It's a long journey that still lies ahead, but this is the first step, and here they go up to the presentation area, up the steps, being led by the captain Danny Brough to pick up this League Leaders Shield. Great reward for a great season's effort, and I just wonder whether this is the start of something big for this team. They have all played their part. They're all being allowed to get up there before Danny will pick up the League Leaders Shield.
And what a moment for the captain, Danny Brough. What a moment for all the Huddersfield fans.
Nigel Wood, the chief executive of the Rugby Football League, is the man who's going to make the presentation tonight to Danny Brough, flanked by Ken Davey and his wife Jennifer. It must be a sweet, sweet moment for them after so much trial and tribulation. And I think they're just delaying the moment. They are living the moment, and here it is. Huddersfield Giants, league leaders at last.
And listen to the noise. It's a long time since this stadium has had such a roar. And look at the delight on the man, Ken Davey. He's been loyal. There's been so many. The backroom staff, they've all worked hard, and he knows it. But he's the man that has made sure that they've built up, slowly but surely, a wonderful, wonderful effort. And a nice moment.
Crabtree has been there every step of the way. From the lows to this, the highs. And all the other members of the squad. Stuart Fielden, who has announced his retirement from playing and will join the coaching staff. It's a collective moment.
They've used 30 different players this season. We're getting to see some of the ones who may have only featured in one particular match, but he has used a squad of 30. What is interesting though is about his back line. He's consistently picked the same 1 to 7. The same team that beat Wakefield back in February started the game here tonight, and I think that consistency of selection has certainly helped in the consistency of performance.
Yeah, tremendous effort, and down the years they've had their ups and downs, and this is the glory night. And I'd like to send a cheerio to a very good friend of mine, Keith Burhouse. He hasn't been well of late. Hope you get better, Keith. And he has been a man that has stuck by this club through thick and thin, just like this fella. But Keith Burhouse has been at far down there and was, shall we say, helped drag this club back to this moment of glory, and I know that he will be celebrating. Tremendous for this town.
Yes, great for the town, the birthplace of the great game itself, of course, the town of Huddersfield, and the Giants can march all the way to Old Trafford. Well, here is a short price favourite in many people's books to be Man of Steel, the captain of Huddersfield, Danny Brough.
Danny, thanks for coming across in the midst of the celebration. It's a terrific night for Huddersfield. Just some of how you're feeling as the captain.
Yeah, I'm over it, Moon. I've had a great team and a great coaching staff behind us this year, and I just think, it's something the club deserved, and I think for all that Ken's put in and the hard work he's done, I think it's a big reward for him. But we can't take that for granted. We've won something, but we haven't done the main thing that we want to do yet.
You picked up that league leadership and you gave it straight to Ken Davey, the owner. Just tell us why you did that.
Well, the silverware's for him, really. We just go out and do his job, and that's play rugby. And like I say, the main aim this year is to get to Old Trafford. And yeah, the club's won some silverware. That's all well and good for fans and the chief exec, but we want to go further.
You put yourself in the best possible position to go to Old Trafford, though, haven't you?
Yeah, we have that, and we've been consistent. We haven't been the best all year, but we'll take that. And anything can happen in these playoffs, and it's great to be a part of it.
Thanks for talking to us, Danny, and all the best for the playoffs. Let's bring Ken Davey in. Here he is. Ken, you've seen a lot of dark days at Huddersfield. This is a terrific night for you and the club, isn't it?
It's wonderful. It's been a long time coming, but everybody deserves it. The players deserve it. The coaches deserve it. The town deserves it. It's a wonderful day for Huddersfield.
Just tell us how you felt personally when they're singing your name and then Danny Brough gives you the trophy.
Well, it's all a bit embarrassing, really. I try not to I try to keep a low profile, but it's a very special day. A very special day, and it's wonderful that everybody should say such nice things.
It's been a tremendously long road, hasn't it? And it must have been times when you thought along that road, is it all worth it? But you look round tonight, it has been worth it, hasn't it?
Of course it has. It's been 17 years, so it's not hardly been an overnight success, but we've been building and building, and we've got a lot more to do yet. This is just the beginning.
Are you allowing your mind to wander what it'd be like sat in the director's box at Old Trafford?
Not yet. No, let's enjoy tonight.
I'm sure you will. Thanks for talking to us, Ken. Many congratulations.
Okay, thank you.
Well, normally we hear coaches and players talk about one game at a time. Now we hear it from the lips of the chairman, but how deserved it is for Ken Davey. 17 long and at times difficult years, but look what this night means to him. And he is so humble. It is embarrassing, he says, when he hears his name being chanted around the ground. He deserves it, Phil. He deserves every moment of this.
Well, he is an owner of a sports club that has a passion for it, and I think that's evident, isn't it, by the support that his players have for him, the coaching staff have for him, and the supporters as well respect him, because they know he's not here for the glory, he's not here in the short-term pleasure-seeking trip here. He's here for the long term, to see this club built on strong foundations, which it clearly is now. A squad of 30 fit, strong players that have helped the side to finish at the top of the table after 26 rounds. They've got one left in them, which we'll of course see next week. But I suppose the players, when they enjoy tonight and wake up in the morning, might cast their minds back almost 12 months to what happened in the playoffs last year. They went to Hull and were beaten by almost 50 points. So they know tonight's about celebrating and enjoying it. These moments are few and far between in your career. But as Danny Brough and one or two of the others have pointed out, there's a few more weeks of hard work and sacrifice still needed.
Well, the big banner that they are stood behind says it all. Super League, league leaders, 2013. A long road. It's got a few more twists and turns to come, but they'll enjoy this night. And now it's heads down and take aim on getting to the grand final at Old Trafford. 34-0, comprehensive and complete. Well, what a glorious Super League Sunday this has been for the Huddersfield Giants. League leaders confirmed now, 2013. Very good, comprehensive, workmanlike performance, and they have